moments in nerd history. I'm not going to go into what we're going to be talking about. It's going to be a surprise because I don't want to reiterate everything. But let's just introduce everybody that's on the cast. You got me, Mess5150. We got my co-host, Mr. Beacon.
What my voice is a little raspy. Don't worry, next week it's going to be super deep. I've been fighting the plague as well as I'm up here in the northwest, surrounded by fires all around me and terrible air quality. So, yeah.
Even better than whiskey and cigarettes.
Oh, I do have that sound going right now.
And Mr. Igor, go ahead and chime in and say hello.
Hello. Totally for the first time.
Yeah, don't forget about what happened before this where there was no sound. That will be getting cut later. You'll never know. Except that I just said it right now. Super Hoovian Freak, how's it going?
You know what? It's not bad. And I'm not going to say that I'm like nerding out or geeking out on this, but I was rewatching Iron Fist. And
oh, God.
You know what? It's not as bad. It's slow. I'm not going to lie. It's still slow in the beginning, but I enjoyed it more this time around. I'm enjoying it a lot more. I don't know if that's because of the Defenders or what, but it's not as bad as I remember it being.
It's because all the other characters in the show are amazing. That's why. You know, Daughter of the Dragon and the Meachums. The Meachums, their whole story is fantastic.
Totally.
The sister's hot and she's awesome. And the brother has like this amazing character arc. So, yeah.
And
and the dad.
It's all good. Crazy. Yeah, the dad is completely crazy.
Yeah.
And Icy Zorro.
What's going on, folks? Yeah. I don't know if we're doing what we're nerding about right now. I just finished Blind Spot. Finally, that was a pretty cool ending for season 2. It makes me really look forward to season 3. Actually, just finished reading book 2 of the Lycanius trilogy. Starting a show called Atypical on Netflix about a kid on the autism spectrum in high school, and it's hilarious. It's hilarious and touching so far.
Yeah, I've seen an episode. It's pretty good.
Jennifer Jason Leigh is fantastic. I hate the character. She's so good.
I've been binging Arrow, so I can try and catch up to all you guys on the CW stuff. So,
well, don't forget, people. If you get your Amazon Prime membership, if you are behind on these shows, you can watch them for free with your Amazon Prime membership. I think. Don't quote me on that, but they should be available.
And speaking of Amazon Prime, I've been nerding out on The Tick, which is available on Amazon Prime. So I've been sick and I binge watched the entire first season of The Tick. And it's amazing.
That's why I missed this guy.
It's amazing. It's like your childhood watching The Tick growing up, only there's cursing and blood.
Nice.
Enough said.
Totally in.
And to the Iron Fist comment Robert brought up, and welcome Robert to the chat channel. Welcome Beth. Welcome Eric. Welcome Marley. Welcome all you amazing people joining in. But Robert brought up that everyone is great in Iron Fist, but the idiot playing Iron Fist. And that's agreeing with Beacon. I want to say one thing to that. If you watch on Defenders, the 2 minutes of Iron Fist eating in the scene in the restaurant and being kind of jokative and jovial and stuff, that was the first time that I saw Iron Fist being played perfectly from the comics and stuff like that. So if we got more of that, I think he wouldn't get as much slack against him, but they just keep trying to make him this kind of guy, and he's not very good at doing that. So Igor, what have you been geeking out on?
Oh, little stuff, some minor releases. Let me pick up my high budget Galaxy Tab A setup here.
Oh.
What? Where's my camera? There we go.
No. Very nice.
So if you guys have Destiny 2,
Bungie.
Yeah,
guys have Destiny 2, there should be you should be joining along with Igor on playing that on the
and if you couldn't tell, that's the Destiny clan that's on Malice Corp now. So
we're officially Guardians, my friends.
Nice.
Come one, come all.
So when I started playing Madden, it was because I couldn't afford it, and it was bought as a gift. I also want to join on Destiny 2 because I played majority of Destiny 1. I still need to catch up on some of the
So if
stuff.
anybody wants to gift Destiny 2 to Mast, he'll play it. That's
Oh
what
yeah, absolutely. You can gift it to me all day. No, I'll eventually be getting on it. It just may not be until November when Black Friday comes around and it drops down to like 20. Because you know it's going.
So Destiny 2, we have a kind of a connection with one of the writers of some of the, what are they called? Help me out here.
One of the level designers.
Level designers, yeah. Talk to us a little bit about what you're seeing so far in the level designs. And
oh, it's not only just as ridiculously pretty as the first one, and not saying I'm biased, but yeah, I would literally sit my character down on hillsides or walls occasionally just so I could have the skybox playing in the background as I did my chores, or just to sit there and look at it. It looked that freaking good. It looks just a little bit better now, and it's like they looked at everybody trying to find their way on how to glitch through walls and climbing everywhere and looking for secrets under stuff and said, okay, you guys want to do that? You can now climb everything. It's fun. That alone is too much fun. So,
well, Chad,
Chris, if you're in the first,
we appreciate you, by the way, and thanks for sticking with us. What happens in the chat channel stays in the chat channel until it gets removed from the chat channel.
Make sure you guys come and check us out live. This is why we do this. So
occasionally you get amazing comments.
Oh yes, stuff that just makes you bust out laughing and go, "What the heck are these guys doing?"
That one was good.
That one was very good.
Stellar. But don't forget to like and subscribe.
But Igor, I'm excited to play. I need to find time. It's not having the money to buy the game; it's having time to actually sit down and play it. Because man, I'm super excited because everything you talk about, and I know the gameplay is so just
it's like butter.
It's dialed in. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing with Destiny 2, or if Destiny 2 is anything like Destiny 1, story wise, you can get through that fairly quick. It's not
much. More.
Okay. Because Destiny 1, you were able to burn through the story super, super quick. So you were playing the same stuff over and over and over again to make your character better. So that gameplay was more of when you wanted to create your character. So if it wasn't something that you had a lot of game time to, you could, just do it at your own pace. But if there's a lot more to the storyline, then I can see it. Quick question: Is it the voice of
yes,
Nathan Drake that's doing the robot again? We never got Dinklebot back.
Nolan North.
Yeah, Nolan North.
The voice of Nathan Drake and Deadpool.
Okay,
remember he was the first Deadpool.
Yeah. So he is still doing it, because I remember originally it was Peter Dinklage doing it. That's why everybody loved the nickname of Dinklebot, and he couldn't come back for the add-ons. So they brought in Nolan North, which is a great voice actor. He's an astounding voice actor. He's part of Nathan Fillion and I am blanking on names, but Conman on
Alan Tudyk.
Alan Tudyk's web series. He's been part of Nolan North. If you want to ever see what he looks like, not just hear that soothing voice as Nathan Drake, he has appeared.
Wasn't he also the voice of Joel in The Last of Us?
No, that was
no, that's the other guy that's in every other thing.
So the voice of Joel was also the voice of Nathan's brother in the most recent Uncharted.
Yeah.
So, which was amazing to have both of them doing voices together. And if you ever go and look up both of them on YouTube and watch the interactions outside of video games between the two, they're great friends and they're hilarious together because they're pulling jokes on each other and everything. So
the voice of the brother, by the way, in The Last of Us sounded so much like Jason Alexander. It was really confusing.
Yes.
And, Jason Alexander, he has a unique voice. So to sound like him, that's something else. It's pretty wild.
Yeah. So let's jump into the nerd news going on. So there was a major story that came out this week, And we have an article about it on Malice Corp, malice-corp.com. It is one of the most recent articles on there, so it'll be really easy to find. But once again, we are jumping back into old world stories and recreating them a little bit. This one just being a little different. So they're coming out with a new Dracula origin film. And I do want to get your thoughts on. Well, first of all, before I kind of give the details on this, what are your thoughts about even going and doing an origin film prior to the original Bram Stoker story? So that's where this takes place. What do you guys think?
Seen so many misses. But if they go simple, like the original Universal Studios black and white stuff, I think they could do really nice.
Okay. So it's Paramount that's doing it. And this is why it's intriguing. This is the first prequel of Dracula that has actually been given the green light and approval by the Stoker estate.
Well, that's encouraging.
So I think it's hugely encouraging. The other thing is the person helping to write this story is the great grandnephew of Bram Stoker, who has written a couple Dracula books already.
I thought you were going to say it was Vlad Dracula himself.
No,
Helping to write this is Dracula.
But yeah, the great grandnephew's written a couple books already. So if you guys want to go check those out, it's Dacre Stoker. Look it up on Amazon. You can go through our website to the link of it. He's got a couple books out there about Dracula. So this isn't his first step into it. But having the Stoker family be part of this, what does that guy? It's not Universal. It's Paramount that's doing this. What does that give you guys a little bit better hopes on this?
I've got to say, like, I'm super excited because Bram Stoker Dracula is one of my favorite story novels of all time. And I have to tell you that one of the best experiences I've had with it is actually listening to it on audiobook. And I got it through Audible. You can get it through Audible. Go to the website, click on our Audible link, and get 2 free books. Seriously, it's phenomenal the way the story is written and the way it's told. And if his great grandson?
It's his great grandnephew.
Great grandnephew writes anywhere near the level of Bram Stoker, anywhere close to it, I'm all in on that. It's it's so good. If you've never read the original, read the original. And then,
I think. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
You're good. Go. Yeah.
Who, me? Oh, I was just gonna say, Eric in the chat channel, he said he wants the Max Shrek vampire. That would be the best.
Oh,
that would be cool.
The old 1920s
This is the other kind of interesting tidbit. So what was talked about the most when I was delving into this story was just who was directing it. So the person that they have on tap to direct it is the director Andy Muschietti, who is the director of the It remake. And I know we poo-pooed on that when we first saw that because Pennywise loving how great the way Pennywise looked before. It is getting some great reviews.
Is it? Has anyone here seen it yet? I haven't seen it yet. I think Big Papa didn't Big Papa see it?
The Beard saw it, and he posted. He went and saw it at Alamo, and he posted about it.
I know. I have a couple of friends that have seen it. I think just yesterday today afternoon, and they said it was fantastic.
Yeah, it's over 90% on Rotten Tomatoes, and over it's got that percentile on all the review sites right now.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah. I didn't think it was going to be that good.
It's killing in reviews.
Yeah, it opened to 13 million on its opening day. So
unintended.
It's absolutely amazing. Now, here's the thing with that. This means we don't know when this Dracula movie is going to come because he is such a hot commodity right now, Muschietti is, that he's got already on top to do It too, which brings up the point that I was asking before, was is this just going to be the kids? Where's the whole thing about the adults?
Robert said he saw it. He said it's amazing. So good call out, Robert, in the chat channel.
He also said that he needs a Bram Stoker audiobook by Joe Pesci. Which I think would be amazing.
I just want Joe Pesci back in any capacity.
Yes.
Yes, going to be in the Netflix film that Scorsese's putting together after so long. He's coming out of retirement to do that, so that will be awesome. But Muschietti's got It 2 set up He's also going to be. It's just been announced that he is developing director for Shadow of the Colossus, so adaptation of the video game.
Sweet.
Okay.
Wait,
Igor,
Igor's
you seem excited about
Igor's
that.
talking. Talk to us.
Yeah, what's going on? Oh,
That's one that defies talking. Do yourselves a favor, grab any YouTube video of it, watch 1 to 3 minutes, and see something beautiful. But if you ever sit down to play it, we'll be ready for beauty, and it is heartbreaking too. Fair warning.
It is an amazing game. That company makes amazing games. Although there was so much hype for their last game because it was so long until it came out that when it came out, people weren't as we're talking bird dog cat game so, that it didn't get as much praise as it should have if it would come out earlier. Kind of how Duke Nukem 5-year hiatus hurt it as well. But yeah. But
I feel like you're being mean to The Last Guardian there, comparing them.
No, yeah, that's very mean to Last Guardian. But yeah, it's just Last Guardian was so long of a wait for it that by the time there was this anticipation that was up here that you weren't going to be able to meet 100%.
It went down. Yeah.
But that video game company does make fantastic games. And Shadow of the Colossus is one of them, and I'm glad they're getting a story of that. But on top of that, he's also attached to direct the Robotech movie. So
Robotech.
The guy is got a full plate. So if he's going to take on this Dracula film as well, this could be 5-6 years down the line before we even see this this happen.
I mean, is this going to be a new, or is it going to be a remake, or
it's going to be a prequel. So the basis of it is it takes place in the 19th century. It is going to be 21-year-old Bram Stoker coming across a creature that he finds traps in a tower and starts documenting the story of the creature, which is doing this whole tie-in that Dracula the book was based on a real story. It's a kind of interesting twist to it on how they're doing it. They haven't said if the creature is Dracula. That's just what we're assuming it is, but it could be a Silence of the Lambs type of thing where Dracula could
Silence
be,
of the Lambs.
Hannibal was not Silence of the Lambs. He was not in Silence of the Lambs, but prior to Silence of the Lambs, Hannibal was helping
I mean, I don't know. I love Silence of the Lambs. What about you guys? I mean, that's in my opinion, that's just one of the creepiest movies of all time. So.
Absolutely. If they're doing a Silence of the Lambs style Dracula, at some point, are we going to get the creature in the tower going?
That's what I'm saying. Is it could be even prior to Silence of the Lambs type of thing, like the dragon when it was.
Oh, Red Dragon
Hannibal,
was one of my favorite movies of all
Hannibal
time.
wasn't a crazy man yet. You didn't know he was crazy. He was just helping. He was a psychiatrist that was helping the detective find another crazy man. And it could be the situation where he could end up working with Dracula. It's called Dracul is the name of the film. But he could be working with Dracula to hunt down this creature and trap it. And so I don't know. That's just my own guesstimate of things that could come with it. But that's the very small snippet that we got. It's just that it takes place and he traps a creature. So
maybe a Renfield.
They'll have to be careful.
The other big story that we wanted to talk about this week that happened is once again troubles in Disney and Lucasfilm. They rectified themselves pretty quickly last time, but they lost another director for another Star Wars film. They had an amicable breakup between Disney and Trevorrow, who was going to be directing Episode 9. They both said that they saw eye to eye and decided to go separate ways. So this is the second time that a Star Wars film has lost a director. Now, the follow-up that we got when Han Solo lost it was we get this Academy Award-winning director announced the next day. So that one, you knew it was just Disney going, we're cutting you out because we can get Ron Howard.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You gotta wonder: is this just Disney perfectionism at play? Is it just them being impossible to work with? Is it the directors? I mean, like, I don't know. What the deal is. I mean, you'd think that I know people are jumping and want to direct Star Wars, and everyone who doesn't want to direct Star Wars, but I don't know what's going on. I mean, what do you think?
Well, that's what I want to ask you guys. What do you think it is? Do you think it's just hard to work with Disney? Do you think it's a perfectionist problem and they want to have full control on it and don't want to give anything away from the directors? Or do you think it's just these directors aren't giving their all? What do you think, Pete or Igor?
It's hard to say because they're a weird company once you start dissecting them. Not bad, but definitely weird. Look at Disney World. You're not allowed to bend over to pick up trash, but you're always supposed to pick up trash, and you have to squat in this certain position. There is absolutely no pointing. You must direct guests by doing this. Lord only knows what making movies with them is like, especially since we might see the emergence of a pattern here. So,
do you know the reason of the point?
It's aggressive.
Oh no. Mm-mm. There's logic. There's logic. I'm just saying that it's one of a litany of rules like that.
One of the reasons that it came from Walt Disney because he always pointed with multiple fingers. But the reason was he was a smoker, and they said he always pointed with multiple fingers because of that, and they stuck to that rule. They actually cut the cigarettes out of his hands in different pictures and stuff like that.
It's not because they all have weird segmented white gloved hands.
No. It was just one of those interesting little. He didn't want to be aggressive about it either, but it's because he was smoked, so he was always pointing.
I work with multiple people who have worked for Disney in management positions for a long time at parks, not in production, and that is an ingrained culture. Like they still refer to employees as cast members occasionally. I think that I have faith in Disney and their production capabilities. I think they're going to put out a good product regardless of how difficult their working relationship with different directors are, and we don't even know that. It could be personal issues. I have faith that they're going to put out a good product in the end.
Oh God, that would be amazing. Eric brought up that Spielberg should do the last Star Wars.
Yes.
A lot of people are speculating that Rian Johnson may come back after this episode to finish out episode 9.
Eric is saying Spielberg should do the last Star Wars.
Yeah, that's what I just said. Yeah.
So,
and they're bringing up Tomorrowland and Jurassic World.
Tomorrowland wasn't as bad as everybody thought.
Good luck convincing Heather Zane of that in the chat channel.
Yeah, she said
she
said
you on that.
Did both. I think Tomorrowland was hyped up from. Once again, it was had an expectation and it didn't meet that expectation, personally. So
at the time,
gorgeous though.
Loved it, so that made me happy.
There you go.
So, that's our major nerd news stuff going on because we got to get moving through to the other stuff. So, we want to do a real quick recap on what is going on in the current Malice Corp nerd fight, which is going to be favorite, or as I like to say it, best Game of Thrones character. Favorite is just too nice about it. We want to know who the best Game of Thrones character is. That's why it's a nerd fight. So in the current nerd fight, it's going to be going through to next Friday. And want to give you guys the results of where we're sitting at right now. If you haven't voted, you can vote very easily. In the descriptions below, there is a link to the nerd fight, and you can go in and click on that and go vote, and you can vote every 12 hours, and that's going to go through to next Friday, where we're going to announce on next week's podcast who the winner of the best nerd fight is. So right now,
I'm going to vote right now. I'm voting right now.
So we've got Arya Stark in the lead with 16 votes. Tormund right behind with 15 votes.
Tormund!
The beard is coming. Tyrion is there.
Cut him off at the knees.
Tyrion's there with 11. Jon Snow's got 7. Sandor Clegane has 7. Brienne of Tarth has 4 votes. Daenerys has 3 votes, and Grey Worm has 2. So to the people sitting on this cast right now, and we're not going to hear from Super because she's got Arya. We don't want to hear.
I want to hear about it.
Well,
it's too easy.
I mean, Arya, like I said, I made the joke. I don't know if anyone heard it, but she's going to cut Tormund off at the knees. It's coming. He may be bigger than her, but she's right at that perfect to get him right in the jewels.
In other words, she's going
to be coming.
She's going to be wearing the epic beard.
She will be wearing the fiery beard. She's going to be switching between Tormund and Granted, he's not buried under a bunch
And
of snow
Baelish.
and a Baelish. What a weird combination, Could you imagine running in? She's Baelish, running out the other side of the room, coming in as Tormund, running back out, Baelish.
Babyface Baelish and Tormund the beard.
It is disappointing though, just to see Dany only having 3 votes.
Oh,
I get it though. I get it. She's
I understand it.
kind of one note at this point.
Right now, she is very much so.
She's a polarizing character, though. I mean,
Yeah, but if she doesn't have her dragons, people don't care.
she's one of my favorite characters, and I would have picked her, but I'm picking the Hound because he's got one of the greatest redemption stories so far in the show. But I'm interested in the person who doesn't have a horse in the race. Igor, what do you think of the picks, and who are you voting for?
Well, as I know all of you can attest to through every genre of film and TV and stage, really, the crappiest roles or the most just kind of middle of the road ones can still be awesome with the right actor or actress. I'm looking at Jacob Anderson and Grey Worm right there.
Yeah.
Plus, even if you never caught him at the cons, catch his music. You can even catch him playing video games online occasionally, which is freaking hilarious because he tends to be terrible at the ones he picks up.
Interesting.
But
It's always good to see someone that succeeds at so many different things to not be good at something.
Interesting.
But yeah,
it's
definitely a case of great actor in an okay role.
I'm a little shocked that Jon Snow only has 7 right now. He is clearly the best character and the hero of the beats at this point. And that's the hero that got killed, or that's still around after the main guy got killed, and then the other main guy got killed, and then he got killed. But he's back, and he's still the main guy. I love him. Come on, how can you not root for Jon Snow as the best character?
He doesn't know anything. That's his problem.
No, some silly redhead said that.
Can I read this from a shirt that's going around right now?
Yeah, please read that shirt.
I was trying to look that up earlier.
But I'm going to correct it because the shirt says
6th, not
7th name, and it's really a 6th. So Aegon of the House Targaryen, the 6th of his name, the Resurrected, the King of the Anvils, the Rhinar of the First Man, Protector of the Realm, King of the 7 Kingdoms, the White Wolf, King of the North, Prince that was promised, the 998th Lord Commander of the Night's Watch, the Lord of Winterfell, the Lord of the North, Beater of the Bastards, Friend of the Free Folk, and Knower of Nothing.
Yeah, take that, Sir Davos.
King of the North!
He's King of the North. And
I also
all
want to
that
say,
other stuff.
I also want to say welcome to Heather. I know Super Hoovian mentioned it, that a comment from her earlier, but we didn't actually get a hey, welcome to the chat channel, Heather. So
Hi, Heather. Hi.
So who was your pick, Ian? Or I see
Jon Snow.
Okay,
Jon
so
Snow.
that's okay. I want to make sure you got to rebuttal your guy.
Oh yeah.
And now we can say he's not a bastard.
He's not.
No,
Yeah.
can't.
He's the
Although
leader of the band.
He definitely
I
doesn't.
think the reason people aren't voting for him is they just forgot his name, because now they think his name is
It's Aegon Targaryen.
yeah, they're like, who's Jon Snow? I'd vote for Aegon. But
How about we add a slash to the poll? Jon Snow slash Aegon Targaryen.
I could do that. I could definitely take care of that after we get done here. But
There we
I
go.
did like Heather's comment that, if she's going to go with Tyrion or Arya, but she goes with Arya because Arya's remained consistent through the whole show. She hasn't really wavered. Tyrion, I'm not saying like Tyrion's had drastic changes, but he has had character,
Well,
turns, I guess you could say.
let's be honest. Arya's gone from just a nothing stick of a little girl running around pretending to play with swords to probably one of the best assassins in Westeros.
The fight scene with her and Bran was just sick.
But she always wanted to be a fighter.
She's changed quite a bit, but that's what she's always wanted.
I don't know. That was what she always wanted. I mean, she was never going to be a lady. I don't think she foresaw that happening, but she was never going to be princess, sewing she was always going to be out with the boys. And
she has progressed through her character arc, but she's never changed direction.
Yeah.
So I agree with both of you.
Good point. I see. Very good point.
And I have to give mine because everybody else got theirs to get in there. But yeah, Tyrion, go vote for him because I would give it to Sandor Clegane for having the best dialogue of these choices here. If not for Tyrion, I think Tyrion's just his some of the greatest moments in terms of dialogue versus about brooding moments and I drink and I know things and just some of the greatest phrases have come out of Tyrion and we need to vote to get him up on a pedestal, to get him a little bit up in that same eye level with everybody else.
Well, good luck, towering over Tormund. He's going to have some time to get ahead of Tormund.
I was going to say, Tormund's running in second place right now, and he's a character that's come on late in the game when you think about
this season especially.
Series. And people love him, especially when he talks about creating monster babies with Brienne. I mean, just... everybody loves it. He's a hero to everybody.
He has gained so much popularity just because of the unspoken side eye. Like that one scene where he's looking over
yeah.
and the cool thing about that is at Comic-Con, even the actress that plays Brienne, she brought up the factor of do you think I should end up with him? I'm thinking I should end up with somebody else. What do you got? Playing this whole thing at the panel. So it was kind of fun to it. I wish the actor that plays Tormund had been at the panel because that would have been even funner. But he wasn't there. So, but yeah. So
I still love that he's even giving Arya a run for her money.
So, but it's definitely a good poll. Go check it out. Go vote for your faves. It'll be there for another week.
Yep.
Absolutely. And if you guys haven't seen any of the other Game of Thrones videos, the drunk cast, if you're of age to watch,
go check them out. It's pretty epic.
I still need to watch it.
I don't know if you want to watch it.
Anybody that watches it, make sure you have time. It is 2.5 hours of greatness. There are times where these wonderful people get a little bit just going. And
he ordered an ice cream at one point.
I gotta tell you that we heard from Jack Malice that all of our friends down at Battle Mage down there in San Marcos, Battle Mage Brewery watched that video and absolutely loved it. And Jack was actually drinking a brew from Battle Mage the entire time, and he's got close-up shots of it, and it's beautiful, absolutely the most beautiful brew you could ever look at. And we had a lot of fun with it, and I know they loved it. So, yeah, if you're of age, make sure you check it out and give us some comments on that video because we'd love to hear what you thought of it. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and yeah, a lot of fun.
Okay, so let's get into it. Let's get into the main topic because we started a little bit late, so just because of our vocal issues. But I want to get your guys' thoughts, and in the chat room, please chime in as well. I do want to read one last comment that came from Heather in there, and she said for Tyrion, he's lost his bite in terms of his the type of things that he's saying because he no longer has Martin writing for him. So I never even thought about it that way, but
that's a good point.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
And I think that's for a lot of people. I mean, I think
that's giving too much credit to Martin, but let's move on to the rest of tonight.
Yeah, so we are going to get into great moments in nerd history September. I want you guys to go out there, look and see things that you found that happened, movies coming out, science being discovered, literature, anything like that happened in September. Go ahead and chime in on the chat room if there was something that really meant a lot to you or personal stories that had about that, and chime off in the chat room about things that came out in September that mean something to you. A very, very big geek and nerd landmark did happen in September that IC Zorro found out about in terms of literature, and
absolutely
his take on all this stuff. So go ahead and chime off with your great movie first.
As of, and let me double check the date here just to be sure. As of September 21st, The Hobbit will be 80 years old. And that is stunning to me because that's the landmark. That's the foundation of modern nerd culture, in my opinion. Just the whole swords and sorcery, different land. It is the template that most great fantasy literature is kind of based on, or in a lot of cases, a pale imitation of. Tolkien wrote it while he was in World War, what was it, World War One, I believe, just in the trenches out there. And man, does it hold up? Still, I mean, there are its overly flowery parts. I don't really care about Tom Bombadil, but
what was your favorite character then? Or, I mean, not counting. Okay, don't take Bilbo. Not counting Bilbo.
Not counting Bilbo or the Nine
Gandalf.
Dwarfs.
Yeah,
I
or
gotta
Gandalf.
go. What was his name? Bjorn, the bear man guy.
Was he the brown druid?
No, he was the guy. He was the skin changer that they stayed in his house. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I don't know why I thought he was a brown druid, but I know who you're talking about. He was a great character.
Smaug. Smaug is amazing.
Oh, Tom Bombadil.
No.
Personally, I loved. I mean, I know I went a little crazy when they stretched The Hobbit to 3 movies, but I love that cup. But I did love Benedict Cumberbatch. Excuse me, Benedict Cumberbatch as Smaug. I mean, the voice. He's just epic voice. Talk about wanting to hear an audiobook from someone.
Well, and I love the fact that it was Sherlock and Watson playing against each other.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Have you? Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, Igor. What about you? What was your favorite character from the Hobbit? Hippity Hobbit.
Or favorite scene from the book.
Or scene or anything, yeah. Dialogue.
Well, if we're talking about The Hobbit, it would definitely have to be it would definitely have to be Gandalf, because it was the central crew that stole the show in The Hobbit itself. But if we're talking everything, yeah, it's Sam. It is absolutely Sam.
Yeah, if you're talking about the whole world of...
Oh, yeah, all of them. No, I mean, honestly, though, no, for me, it was Pip. Merry and Pip, the two of them, they were just epic, you know?
Well, if you're talking about the entire world and the entire story as a whole, not just The Hobbit, I think most people just gravitate towards The Hobbit. And, dude, Samwise Gamgee is the, like...
No, he's
amazing. He's the best friend a guy could ever have.
Oh, he's so fun too.
But we're getting away from it because he's talking about The Hobbit. So I want to
sorry.
Back. And what I want to say is, I love audiobooks. You have to check out the audiobook. It's by Rob Ingalls, is the guy who reads it. He does every single voice differently. He's an amazing, amazing award-winning vocal actor. And you could buy it on Audible. It's expensive to just buy. It's like $35, $40 book. But when you go through the link, of course, you get the 2 free books. Buy The Hobbit as one of them. It's like 18 hours, and it's like the most glorious audiobook you will ever listen to. Don't watch the movies. They're crap. Read the book. Read the book. Yeah.
Heather has mentioned in the chat room, which one was the hot dwarf?
Which one?
I couldn't tell you. I could not tell you. I don't remember any of their names.
But anyway, what else? Who else had something from?
I wanted to mention one thing about The Hobbit. I mean,
please.
The cool thing about it.
The Hobbit all day.
Oh yeah. But the factor that he wrote a children's book that was at a very, very high level that adults could read as well, but it was written for children. And the story that off of that basis that he was able to create going further into Lord of the Rings and the Silmarillion and stuff. I mean, from just that one book, if not for that one book, we never would have had all this other stuff. And I think that's amazing to ever to take a children's book and turn that into something as epic as his.
One thing that I love about Tolkien is I actually love the relationship that he had with another, probably one of my favorite authors of all time, which is C.S. Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
And the relationship that they had together. And when you think about the books that they were writing at the same time, and C.S. Lewis writing the Chronicles of Narnia, which is just an epic story in and of itself, and you see what Tolkien was doing at the same time. 2 amazing authors,
and they were good friends. Yeah. No, you're absolutely. I remember reading about C.S. Lewis and Tolkien and how they had a little writing club and they had vastly differing opinions on the world, but they would sit down amicably and just hash it out and then give each other notes on the writing. I thought that was fantastic.
And not just that, but they would sit there and drink beer and smoke cigars together and talk about philosophy and talk about life and talk about their stories, their amazing stories. So
can we basically say that C.S. Lewis and Tolkien were what Lucas and Spielberg were in the 80s in terms of
good comparison?
Yes. Yes.
I mean that's the way I look at for that geek nerd that doesn't know the old school stuff that you should know. That's the way I look at it. But
Beth, from the comments real quick, Beth thinks that not only is The Hobbit the inspiration for fantasy, she thinks it's not even a contributor. I'm confused by that.
No, she doesn't think it's an inspiration. She disagrees with The Hobbit being the inspiration. So
yeah,
I don't think you have D&D without Tolkien.
Yeah. I don't think you have most modern fantasy novels without Tolkien.
Yeah.
Well, look at how
you definitely
created.
You definitely don't have anything that George R.R. Martin has ever written without Tolkien because.
But he created actual languages I mean, those are all real, actual languages and words and stuff. That everything that's written in Elvish and in Dwarf.
Yeah.
It's insane how in depth he went with it.
They are studyable, just like Klingon.
What? I'm asked Beth in the chat channel why she doesn't think this. Okay, for instance, Tolkien highly criticized Lewis for making his fairy tales.
Mm-hmm.
That's not really a.
I'm not quite sure what she means by that one. She'll have to expound a little bit on how that prevents it from being a contributing example. Because I don't think you get things like the Rift War saga. Oof. I don't think you get things like the Dragonlance series.
Yeah.
I mean, all these things that came out after that.
Now to be fair, pretty much all of that is based on the epic hero's journey stuff, which goes back all the way to Gilgamesh, like 5,000 years.
Yeah, so I mean, it all stems from somewhere. Yeah.
Well, and Lewis and Tolkien were good friends, but at the same time, like all good friends that happens, especially when you have people that are both very intellectual, they butted heads on things quite a bit at times too. Mm-hmm. So, and that's probably the instance
as you do with most good friends. I mean, if you don't bicker with your best buddies at least once a week,
you should see some of the behind the scenes conversations that I have with some people that I know.
But I want to move on to some of the other moments that happened in nerd history. So, Pete, Igor, did you have anything that stood out to you from September that was a great moment or attached to you that meant something?
Well, there's not only tiny little things like Jack Kirby and Stan Lee bringing us a couple of comic books called X-Men and the Avengers. And yes, Loki was the central bad guy in the very first issue. Mm-hmm. Very first issue. Mm-hmm. But one I'd actually almost forgotten, even though I actually got to see the TV footage of the Challenger, the Space Shuttle Challenger exploding back in the 80s during my computer class, no less. Kristen McAuliffe. 89. But Kristen McAuliffe was a social studies teacher from Concord, New Hampshire, and she was going to be the first teacher in space.
Yeah.
She was on that. She was born on September 2nd.
That's awesome.
Yeah, not only the first teacher, but the first civilian. That was, So.
Oh yeah.
Little side story on that. So I'm glad you brought that one up. The problem that happened with the Challenger was it was the O-rings within it
was just it was a freak accident and unfortunately it happened and I think we learned from it. It's certainly come a long way.
It wasn't even a freak accident. It was the way that they were built and stuff like that. It was the O-rings within the Challenger's rockets themselves. My dad was a machinist and worked on aerospace materials, so he actually worked on the solution to the O-rings that fixed that problem from happening. And so I heard him talking about kind of what they learned had happened with it and stuff like that. And so yeah, it was just this one piece that was built to the wrong parameters of what they were looking to have happen. And so to not have that happen again, they came up with this whole new design on these rings, and to not have the explosion leak and bleed out and cause everything else to blow up and stuff. And so yeah, he got to work on the actual
Mest, I gotta tell you, I'm glad that your dad is such an engineering nerd that he's into that, because that's awesome. Man, I actually didn't know that about you. And me and Mess go way back. So I didn't know that your dad.
Well, he's not so much an engineering nerd. He's just a machinist.
Cool.
That
actually, Mess. I remember we were talking earlier about the stuff that we had found in our we had both found for our greatest nerd stuff today, and I was really intrigued by yours. That's one of my favorite things of all time, is what you had.
Well, that's what I found out today, was that Final Fantasy VII released today 20 years ago.
Oh. Wow.
One of the
and giant swords
games.
Everywhere.
Cloud. One of the greatest games of all time came out 20 years ago today, and we're still waiting for the remake of it to happen when they showed it to us 2 years ago.
Please, Square. Please.
They can't even get us the whole game out. They're going to bring it to us in chapters, and they still can't get us the first chapter for forever. So, I mean, what
97 hours on that game when I finally beat it the first time.
That's half of Skyrim.
Well, you know, this was
that's a speed run for Final Fantasy VII.
You know, right? Wasn't it 99 when it came out? It was 20 years ago, or was it 97?
97.
Yeah. So I mean, I was a sophomore in high school.
This is for us having to wait for things. This was for North America's release. Of course, in January was when Japan got it, but we waited impatiently for one of the greatest games. But I love the game. I remember trying to find it years after it was released. PlayStation 2 was already out at the time. You couldn't find it anywhere. It was sold out everywhere. Everybody charged a premium for it because it is considered one of the greatest games of all time. I literally went to 50 GameStops until I found one that actually had one for $20 and was like, "Give me it."
So, what would I guess then? Expounding on that, what was everyone's favorite fantasy? I mean, we've got how many Final Fantasies?
Well, I want to know what everybody's favorite character was from Final Fantasy VII.
Shoot!
Oh, jeez.
I never remember the names of my Final Fantasy characters because I always renamed them.
Yeah. The guy with the gun, the old dude with the gun.
Lufia? No, that's a totally different game.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Luffy? Oh, no, now I'm thinking of the Tiny Ninja.
How about just like favorite Final Fantasy game?
Okay, go for it.
What's your favorite Final Fantasy game of all time?
My favorite was 10. I'm sorry. I know it was a little cartoony and some terrible voiceover work.
10's an amazing game.
But it's such a good, and it's the first one I ever played. I didn't play 7 until after I'd played 10.
Oh wow. I started on 4, I think it was. The original, like the Super Nintendo. So it must have been 4 or 5. But 10's one of my favorite. Isn't that where we get Blitzball for the first time?
That's where we get Blitzball is in 10.
I can't tell you how many hours that Jack Malice and I played Blitzball in his living room. Like hours and hours. Loved the side games. Loved all the side games.
I have earned
stats for all of our.
I have earned all 7 of the ultimate weapons. I have fulfilled every single circle on that sphere grid. The one thing I have not done in that game, the only reason I haven't 100%ed it, I have not beat Ultima. Ultima weapon.
We're getting
good luck
from the chat channel.
Well, yeah. Marley brought up that Final Fantasy 6 was her fave. Ken, welcome to the chat room. He also said 6 was good.
So we're getting some consensus there.
Story for me though, I mean, I loved 7. 7. That's where I think I really fell in love with Final Fantasy as a game.
I personally think 7 is what really got people into role-playing games.
Yeah, was what got me in. I mean, I played the other ones, but 7, so good.
And Ken says he went 1 through 13, then gave it up. So
That's a long time to
that's
go
a
and then
lot.
give it up.
You quitter. Come on, Ken.
15 was great too. I wasn't mad at 15.
I haven't finished 15 yet. It is actually pretty good. So
It's a worthy successor.
so,
What's the one where you're driving around? Like it's the
That's
road
15.
trip? Is it? It's a good one.
Mhm.
It's good.
Okay.
yeah,
It feels a lot like 7, but with better graphics and not quite as
Okay.
good a story.
it's kind of a mix between 10 and 7, honestly.
Yeah, it really is.
And
Huh.
so
Well,
but
that's
yeah,
a great
when I have
synopsis.
time, I'll check it out.
but yeah, that was, I think, one of the
Listen.
greatest video game things that has ever happened.
Yeah,
So I'm
definitely.
glad we were able to bring that up. I know
Yeah.
Super Hoovian, you had a pretty stupendous show to talk about.
Yeah, well, I got 2. One, I'm going to bring up Heather's point from the chat channel. This isn't really a nerd moment that happened in the past, but it's the year, if you follow Harry Potter, that this would be the year that Harry Potter's kids go to their Hogwarts. You know, when he's sending his youngest boy off, Albus Severus goes on the train, the platform 9 3/4. So that was where, I mean, it's been this long now, where 11 years, I guess, since the finale of book 7,
Deathly Hollows. Yeah.
the Deathly Hallows.
Mhm.
So, you know, so that's
The
one
epilogue
thing.
at the
But
end, yeah.
the biggest thing for me was I didn't even know it had been, I knew it had been 15 years, but I didn't realize it debuted in September. But Firefly, you know, getting our epic Firefly action on,
Gone
you know,
too
the greatest series that never got a chance to freaking go anywhere.
Speaking
Screw
of-
you, Fox. Screw
speaking of
you, Fox.
It's
Speaking
hitting
of Firefly,
15 years.
I just mentioned that in an article that should be coming out soon about that
Ooh.
finale. So just a little future plug for you.
Yeah, it's
But
hitting
I mean,
15th anniversary.
who in this chat room, in here, anywhere, who doesn't like Firefly? I mean, favorite character?
My ex-wife.
Well, she's
Not his favorite character, but
not his favorite
No.
character. That was really funny.
Early red flags when she didn't like Firefly.
Yeah, that should have just ran right then.
I
that's
know.
when
You had so, yeah, but that's a different topic for when we're all. That's for the adult channel. But I mean, I know we only have like 13 episodes to choose from, so I think we could all
And
do
a
this.
great movie. Come on.
And a great movie. But I'm thinking favorite episodes. Who has a favorite episode? Igor, you got a favorite episode?
That's like choosing a favorite child. Curse you.
Hard.
Curse you.
I know, but if you got to pick one, I can name mine right now if you need a chance to think.
Do it.
Ladies
okay,
first.
For me,
Ladies first.
got to be Out of Gas, the one with all the flashbacks where you see
Ooh.
everyone meet up. Mal is trying to get the convert. I don't even know what it's called. It's that the whirly part of the engine that is failed. But just seeing all the flashbacks, seeing Zoe meet Wash for the first time, and just like, nope, I don't like him. I mean, that episode was brilliant.
I personally liked the debutante ball one where Kaylee gets made fun of, and there's the duel, and the duel was hilarious. I mean, come on. Yeah.
I'm a great man.
Also,
Well-
just the best line maybe of all time is when he's talking about he will take off his pretty pink bonnet and shoot you in the face or whatever it was.
I'm not gonna lie, that is the ringtone every time I get an email. That is what plays. I swear by my pretty flower bonnet, I will shoot you or I will end you.
Yep.
Well, that some of the greatest freaking one-liners came out of that
Yeah.
show.
I know if he was here right now, Jack, he's a huge Christina Hendricks fan, so he loves the ones with saffron.
I was about to say that too. Yep.
Yeah, that's what my mention was going to be. I was trying to go remember her name because I was like, yeah, once we got her in episode.
Yeah.
That heist of the original phaser gun or whatever it was called was amazing. It was a great episode.
like I said, gone too soon. I don't know.
So
The
my
problem
wife-
is-
My
Oh,
wife
no.
just brought up, speaking of Firefly, she said, did you tell everybody what I did to her? And she said, basically, I showed her season 1 when I first showed it to her, because the show was already done and stuff. I showed her season 1, and then when she asked for season 2, I said it was canceled.
Oh,
I didn't even let her know what was going on. So, and she just cussed me out for that. Sorry.
she just cussed you out again just thinking about it.
Well deserved.
Well, a little funny anecdote for me is I hadn't seen the show as of yet, and I had someone, I'm sitting there and they were like, "Hey, Kaylee," and I'm looking, I'm like, there's no other girl in the room, and I'm like, my name not Kaylee, and they were like, "No, but you look like that Kaylee from that show," and I'm like,
That's a nice compliment.
you know, and I had no idea what he was talking about. But later that night, we were at a friend's house, and we were watching Serenity, and then I kept hearing Kaylee, and then the person was just like, you kind of look like that girl Kaylee and I'm like, oh, there we go,
Jewel
So
State.
I actually saw Serenity before I saw Firefly, so
It must have been very confusing.
it was very confusing. I had no idea what was going on.
So I don't know if I've ever told this story before, but speaking of not having seen the episode before, so I went to an old comic convention that me and Beacon used to go to called Wizard World Los Angeles.
Rest in peace, Wizard World.
I had the third issue of Astonishing X-Men that Joss Whedon wrote, and it had the alternate cover of Cyclops on top of it. And I wanted a signature from him and the artist, who they've never gotten signatures from both of them. So I stood in line for Joss Whedon's signing and panel, which was for Serenity, not knowing what the heck it was or anything like that, just to get the signature, and stayed in line to get the signature from all these people from this new movie that I had no idea what it was. And it turned out to be Serenity, and Nathan Fillion signing, and Summer Glau signing, and just almost the entire cast signed a photo for me. Now I was trying to find it to show it to you guys, but I have it hidden away somewhere very safe, and it's so safe that I can't find it. But yeah, just one of those indications of not always knowing the treasures that you come across.
Wow.
Until far later. Yeah. So
the one time that I've been ashamed of you on this show right now.
But to go back to Igor, did you think of one of your favorite episodes, or even favorite character if you can't think of the episode?
Shepherd Book.
Definitely Book.
Shepherd Book all the way. Ron Glass.
But may he rest in peace.
People keep talking about Morgan Freeman because they never watched Firefly. That's why.
No,
Yeah,
he would.
Rest in peace in both worlds, right?
Yes, in both worlds, unfortunately. But I mean, my favorite, the backstory for him. If you've never gone and go read his backstory,
The comics
out there in the comics. They're amazing. He's got a really great backstory to him. But my favorite probably moment of him in the show is when he's washing his hair, and he comes out to come talk to River and just freaks her out because his hair is just, and he's like, wait, no, I'm okay. And then, Zoe comes in and she's like, it's okay. He's putting the hair away. It's going away. And I mean, you just don't get dialogue and cast chemistry like that much anymore.
Yeah.
Well, that's
sad,
because
but true.
Whedon's not writing a lot of TV at this point.
yeah. And
that's true. Well, that's because he's stuck doing JLA. Not stuck, but he's doing JLA and Batgirl,
and he's got some other stuff going on.
He's busy. The dude's busy.
So moving on, Beacon, what was your you had another literacy?
I've got two gems for you.
Mm-hmm.
The first one, I'll do the fun, the good one first. How about that? And then the other one's just funny. September 1st, 1952, The Old Man and the Sea, Pulitzer Prize winning book, of course, by Ernest Hemingway, was first published. So you get Hemingway's first book, Old Man and the Sea, 1952. Obviously, it goes on to be a Pulitzer Prize winning book. He becomes this famous, amazing writer. And unfortunately, his story ends where I live in Idaho. Of course. Yeah. But one of my absolute favorite books by Hemingway, hands down. I love fishing, and that is the epic story of a man fishing by himself and catching a big fish. You gotta love that.
But Beacon, was he surrounded by spiders?
God no. That's a total side story. Me fishing this weekend on a lake shore, and there were spiders everywhere, and it was like one of the scariest nights of my life. That may be why I'm sick.
That's where you caught the plague.
Yeah, I caught the plague on a lakeside full of spiders trying to fish.
You didn't find yourself like sticking to walls or anything, right?
No.
We wish.
I love Hemingway, and Hemingway, and in college I wrote a lot of stuff about his books, but I always was just a little off put by the dialogue in general, and I know that's one of the actual things that he was so famous for, was just writing naturally. But I mean, it was naturally for the 50s, so it always threw me off just a little.
Did you ever read The Old Man and the Sea, Zoro?
I haven't read that one, no.
That one's very narrative heavy. You might like it a lot better.
Yeah. Yeah, I would definitely check out Old Man of the Sea. It's my favorite. I know it's Jack Malice's favorite. Especially, we're both baseball fans, and the dialogue, the way that the old man is talking about his love for the game and love for the Dodgers in particular, is some of the best stuff. You got to check that out. There it is. I knew I would get it out of you. But yeah, no, he's a great writer, and that's again, it's one of my favorite books growing up reading. So my second one is for all of us on the cast that love to grow that beautiful, beautiful facial hair. And this one is for the Big Papa Matt. I know you're going to watch it later. So Big Papa, this one's for you.
The boy band chin strap.
Yeah, the boy band chin strap. There you go. September 5th, 1698. September 5th, 1698. We're going way, way back. Peter the Great declared a tax on beards. When more than 2 weeks worth of growth, a tax had to be paid by citizens, and then they were granted a two-sided coin that stated the beard tax has been taken. So
wow,
there was a time when beards were not a good thing. And
I want one of those tokens.
Beard. So think about how much money would be owed to the King of England by me and Icy and Mest and Jack Malice and of course the Big Papa Matt. This is why we need your support, people. We owe so much back taxes.
We might get taxed.
So much beard tax.
This is really why the revolution happened. It's not about tea tax. It's not about freedom of religion. It's because people wanted to grow beards, people.
Okay, somebody get on eBay right now and find me a beard tax token.
Oh,
that's funny.
Yeah, I would love that.
Just go to Etsy. You know somebody's going to make it.
Probably already did.
So those are my two fun facts for September.
I want to finish
That's
it out
awesome.
with one last epic pop culture nerd geek thing that happened in September. And that is the original Batman the Animated Series it turned 25 years old this year because it came out September 5th, 25 years ago. And
who feels old? That makes me feel old.
Oh man.
I mean,
I'm just listening to the theme song.
Well, I want to know your guys' thoughts on that series, on what it meant to you growing up, because that came out when we were still kids,
it was
so.
When it first came out, I was 11 years old, and I would watch it coming home after school every day. Man, you have Mark Hamill as the Joker. You have what's the guy's name?
Kevin Conroy.
Kevin Conroy is Batman. It is so dang good. And the writing is amazing, and the voice acting is amazing, and the animation is amazing. It is so freaking good. You have Harley Quinn. You don't have Harley Quinn with Jack Malice is talking in my ear.
Absolutely, do not have Harley Quinn from this series.
Without the animated series.
Yeah.
I watched it with my brother growing up. It was one of our Saturday mornings. We watched Batman, we would watch He-Man, we would watch She-Ra, and it was great.
So I want to know if anybody remembers the episodes watching as a kid in the chat room. Let us know what your favorite episode was or what character you were always most excited to see on the animated series. What about you guys? Do you guys have a favorite episode that stands out to you or a character that you couldn't wait to see in an episode?
If I'm thinking back, I know for me, I liked the Riddler. Was always fantastic. Clayface.
That's
Clayface.
Yeah.
I could
Clayface.
not wait till there was a Clayface episode. There was not enough Clayface episodes.
He was I mean he's such a unique character, you know. So that was definitely one. And then like I said too, the Riddler. Because I who doesn't love the Riddler? I mean,
well, I saw an interesting little tidbit here looking at IMDb, and apparently Tim Curry was originally cast to do the Joker, and then Mark Hamill took over. Could you imagine if that would have?
wow.
That's a hard one because Mark is so fantastic as the Joker, but
Yeah.
I love Tim Curry, but he's Hamill.
Yeah.
I guess it's one of those things that if it had happened the other way, could we have imagined Mark Hamill doing it if it had been flipped? You know, I think it's just one of those things that we appreciate what we have and speculate, I guess, on what could have been. Because I do love Tim Curry.
Do you have anything that stands out from the animated series character or episode, Igor, that was a favorite to you, or that like just?
Oof. So many of the episodes.
Favorite kids and all these things right now.
So many of the episodes. So I'll just say, yeah, gotta echo the Riddler. That is my favorite. John Glover was my favorite Riddler next to Frank Gorshin in the '60s live action series with Adam West. Just so freaking awesome. But let's see, Alfred. Alfred gave us that probably gave us our best Alfred ever, I think.
Oh, I don't know.
guys.
Michael Caine is
Gotham.
Alfred.
He was really good.
I mean,
Really good.
I got a soft spot in my heart for Michael Caine. Anything, but
Way to speak up, Igor. You're starting another nerd fight. We haven't started the poll we're on.
Listen,
You guys,
We're supposed to have on an episode.
I just bought a beard token.
Are you serious?
Awesome.
You better
Yes,
show
I
us
didn't buy two.
once it gets delivered.
Yeah, you'll have to send me a link for that. If you like Alfred, and everybody does, you need to watch Gotham. Because the way they portray Alfred on Gotham, obviously a lot younger, and the way that he is Bruce's protector and mentor and father figure, he is, I mean, fantastic. Spot on resemblance, spot on personality-wise. And you get a lot of his backstory through Gotham.
Well,
So that's my plug.
and the other thing too, let's not leave this out with the animated series. The animated series got Two-Face better than anything else has ever gotten Two-Face properly, in my opinion. The characterization, the way that he runs everything. There no other movie that's had him, no other cartoon has done as well as the original animated series did with Two-Face. That's my thought. What do you guys think?
do you think that he was better than he was written in the comics, or
Oh no,
was
he
that
was
the
written
closest?
fantastic in the comics, but
So that's the closest to the comics. Okay,
that's
fair
what
point.
I,
Fair point.
you know, because of course, yeah, award-winning actor in Tommy Lee Jones. He's not. He wasn't a good Two-Face.
Well, that
And-
movie was awful.
Yeah, but even still, when we got another great actor, Aaron Eckhart, I still didn't like his portrayal of Two-Face either.
That was the one in the Dark Knight, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, and he
Well,
was
I
all manic Two-Face.
It was just, I don't know, it just didn't come across. I liked him as Harvey Dent when he was just Harvey Dent.
Yeah.
But when it
But
came
that's the
time to
thing.
the actual, it came off a little weak. Yeah.
You can play a good Harvey Dent no matter what. It's the factor that can you pull off the insanity of Two-Face while pulling off that story of it really is just, it's a sad, tragic story of Two-Face. He
Yeah.
It's like
Maybe being animated helped it, because you didn't have to, you weren't relying on your own facial expressions. You were just able to.
That's a good point.
It's
Yeah.
like people have said in the comments on these casts before. It's like playing the bat. You have to be a good bat and a good Wayne. You know, you can't just be good Harvey. You can't just be good Two-Face.
Ken Johnson brings up in the chat room a fantastic thing as well. Mask of the Phantasm, the animated movie from the Batman the animated series. You know,
That was freaking cool.
I also liked what was it? I think this was another animated movie, Batman Under the Red Hood.
That was one of the more recent ones.
Fun fact, if you didn't realize that, Jensen Ackles from Supernatural was actually the voice in Batman the Red Hood, Under the Red Hood.
All of the new Batmans that are released, like Batman versus Robin, which came out like 2 years ago, and Batman the Killing Joke, which just recently came out. Fantastic animated movies, and you can actually get them from Amazon. So go to our website, go to one of our Amazon links, check those out. You can get them on. I want to say I'm like 90% sure you can get them on Amazon Prime as well. So great places to watch those awesome Batman animated videos as well.
Yeah. So that's what we have for this year's round of great moments in nerd history.
For September.
There
you go.
This is something we're doing every month, so we will have stuff to talk about next month. I do want to bring up one last few things as we head out of here and say goodbye and say where you can follow everybody. September is a hellacious month in history. We have 3 potential hurricanes getting ready to happen right now, and our hearts and prayers go out to everybody that's dealing with all those situations. But the largest hurricane in recorded history happened in 1900 September in Galveston, Texas. So it's happening again right now, and our prayers go out with them. World War II happened in September, and one of the greatest tragedies, biggest terrorist event of all time ever happened in September. So it's not always great things, but we want to talk about the great happy things. So thank you guys for coming and joining in with us on chatting about all these great things. If you want to help and support any of the travesties that are going on with the hurricanes, you can reach out to Red Cross is doing stuff.
Salvation Army is a good one.
Mattress Firm is I know personally is accepting all types of donations of any kind at their store locations across the nation right now too, for any of that type of stuff. Igor, you had something about where you can go.
Oh yeah, so GoFundMe.com was getting in on the efforts as well when I was researching my articles recently. Like they're contributing as well.
Yeah. So and that's the thing is if you want to help, there's resources out there to help. So
as well as all those that are fighting fires right now, close to me in Oregon and Northern California and Washington and Montana.
We had a couple down here in Cali. I think that they're out now though. I wish Nudie Rudy was here. He could tell us that the ones in LA were put out. But it is just it's all.
Yeah, definitely thoughts to all them. And on a happier note, if you want to do something this weekend, I would recommend to go to one of your local comic book shops. I know that's probably what I'm going to do. Grab the kids, go jump down, go buy some comics, maybe buy some Batman, maybe buy some more Flash comics and catch up on the Flash. You could do that if you're down in the San Marcos area by just going down and checking out Sky High Comics. Definitely check out Sky High Comics. They're friends of the show. We love them. I know Jack Malice spends a ton of his money down there, way too much, but they love him because of it. But definitely check out Sky High Comics if you're in the San Marcos area. Make sure you check out Battle Mage Brewery as well if you want to get yourself a nice brew and play some Magic the Gathering.
You can get these awesome collector mugs. So
or hats.
Oh,
nice. Nice.
They're pretty awesome.
I know I saw Jack Malice in a hoodie the other day.
Yeah, they have some great merch there, and they have great beer, and they have fun. They're there to all the things that we enjoy. They enjoy as well. The Magic, the Gathering games, all types of stuff. So definitely check them out if you guys are in the area. You can follow the website both online at malice-corp.com. If you don't know how to spell that out, guess what? In the description below, there's a link that you can click on to go to it. If you want to subscribe to the channel, you can do that too. In fact, if you see a little logo that's right here, that's been there the whole time, and you just hover over that, a subscribe pops up, and you go in and subscribe. So if you haven't subscribed to us before, please do, so that you can see any other videos that we have coming out. Make sure to hit that like button if you haven't hit it yet, because if you sat here for the entire hour, you must have had a good time, and we'd like to see that you did have a good time. If there's any thoughts of anything that we talked about today, or other stuff that happened in September that you would love for us to talk about next year, please leave them in the comments below, and we will keep this conversation going with you outside of the live universe. But let's talk about where we can follow everybody. Mr. Zorro, where can we follow you outside of this wonderful 4-square box?
Ooh, 4 squares. That's still a thing. I can be found at ICZorro on both Twitter and Instagram.
Awesome.
A lot of wine, a lot of scenery harvest is going on. So there's going to be some pretty pictures up there.
Oh, cool. Super Hoovian, where can we follow you?
You can follow me on Twitter at SuperHoovianNut. It's good stuff always happening there. And for those that were looking for hurricane relief aid, I'm always posting stuff on where you can donate. Send money, send supplies, send anything you can. It'll be up on my Twitter throughout the week. So,
and she does, definitely follow her. She does give a lot of great information out there. Igor, where can we follow you?
I will actually say, because I got some really good news in the process of prepping and sitting here tonight, don't worry about following me. Check out the Malice Corp clan on Destiny 2.
I thought you were like,
not
on
just
Twitter.
Because
I thought you were pregnant.
No.
I was getting excited.
But dead serious, not only is it not 9 folks just as awesome as the people I'm sitting here on the screen with, but one of our guys was actually in the path of Irma, directly in the path. He was in the mandatory evacuation. He not only got out okay. Scott, sure, love you, man. Sad to hear your PlayStation might not be okay, but glad you are. And on top of that, big shout out to Defects and Riven152 and to Shiznit and Sephiroth as well. They're giving him some place to stay. Literally, they drove down.
Nice.
And no, they're not in the same area. I'll just put it that way. They drove down to get him.
Out each other. That's awesome to hear.
So check out the clan, not for me, for them. They're cooler than I ever will be.
Awesome.
Nice.
And Beacon.
And make sure you're also checking out Nerd Mosh Pit. So they just released their latest episode this last week, and I believe they're going to be recording here. Episode 13 just released this last week, and they'll be recording 14 soon. So make sure you check out Nerd Mosh Pit on MaliceCorp.com. You can listen to them on iTunes, Stitcher, and podcasts.com. You can also follow them on Twitter at Nerd Mosh Pit. You can follow me at Beacon_Malice Corp, and you can follow this cast at MaliceCast on Twitter.
don't forget to come back on Monday night. We're going to be recapping the last episode of Preacher for the season. Mm-hmm. So that's we'll still be interacting. I think I do outside of Preacher. I interact with Malcolm Barrett and Julianne Emery on Twitter. But so that'll be the last time, at least to interact Preacher wise with them till it comes back from hiatus. Yeah. And then
Super Hoove is a really good follow. I follow her, and there's a lot of really good celebrity interaction on her account. Really fun stuff from people that you know.
And we will be doing also the last cast for the Defenders to wrap up our TV Talks season, I guess you could say, for a while. We're going to discuss the date after this cast, but I'm hoping it'll be this weekend, maybe on Sunday. I'm hoping, shooting for Sunday. So
make sure you subscribe. Make sure you subscribe so you get the alert, and make sure you're checking us out on Twitter so that you get that live link so that you know when to come and join us.
Exactly, because it'll be a good time. We're wrapping up the episodes 7 and 8 of the Defenders, where it all goes down. Literally, it all goes down.
Your voice going to be back, Beacon?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if I'm able to join. It all depends on what time. You know me. Work is crazy.
Yeah.
But
and then if
you
guys want to follow me, you can follow me on Twitter at @Mest_Malice Corp, or you can follow me on Instagram at Mest5150. If you want to see the thumbnails that get worked on when we say that we're going live for these different things, definitely follow me on Instagram, because that's where I put the fleshed together ones where you're not seeing a big push play button on top of it and stuff.
Yeah.
So
they're fun.
people to enjoy seeing them. So next week we will be back on Friday to we're going to induct our next nerd icon. It's going to be Mr. Bill Murray celebrating his birthday in September. So
I'm sorry. Is that your Bill Murray impression?
we're going to get in the hole. No,
That is terrible.
Oh my!
I am
Terrible.
so not gonna lie. I thought you were imitating Ernie from Bert and Ernie.
I know.
Guys,
It's
guys,
terrible.
I'm going to promise that we are never going to allow Mess 5150 to do that ever again.
Bill,
Wow.
we're sorry. I love you. You're one of my favorite actors and comedians of all time. I am so sorry.
Well, the grand
I'm
gesture
so
that will
sorry.
happen next week is, unfortunately, I am being pulled away to a masquerade ball next week, so you don't have to hear me tell any bad Bill
Yeah,
Murray
so
things.
shut your mouth and stop trying to be like
but-
Bill.
Come back next week. We are going to talk about our love for Bill Murray and all the
Yes.
great movies and shows he has, and we're going to finish out the nerd fight next week, but that'll start our next nerd fight, which will be best Bill Murray movie, and this will be a
there's some
fun
good
one.
ones.
So there's some
many
great
good
ones out there. So come back next week, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Join us. If you guys haven't clicked that little logo and you don't know what I'm talking about, there's going to be a logo that will pop up right up there. You can click on that. That'll be to subscribe. That'll be for everybody that's not watching live. If you want to see last week's cast, go in and click on the video that pops up right there. And if you just want to see what's suggested to you from the channel, click on the video that pops up right down there.
Yep.
With that,
And a big thank you to Ken and to Heather and to Marley Ba and to Beth.
And
Who else am I missing?
Eric.
and to
to
the wonderful
Robert
person
and
that came
Eric.
in and dropped an amazing one-liner and so thank you guys for coming in and joining the chat,
Yes.
and we will see you guys later, and you keep nerding on and you be wonderful, and yeah, we'll see you guys Monday.
Stay nerdy
Thank
out
you,
there.
guys.
Yeah. Finger